Hey guys, welcome to section 5 and section 6 of chapter 3 of the geometry program. And in these two sections, we're going to do a hard algebra review of how to graph lines, particularly parallel and perpendicular lines. So I'm going to try to blow through this pretty quickly. If you need additional information because you're just struggling to remember how to do these things, let me know, but hopefully it's going to be a good review for you. Okay. Last year during algebra, we asked you to graph equations using the intercepts. So let's say we have the equation 4x minus y equals 8, and we want to graph this line. Well, we can graph it knowing where it crosses the x and the y axes, right? So we can find those intercepts by simply substituting in 0 for x and finding y, and then substituting 0 for y and finding x. So if we do that here, you're going to get minus y equals 8, minus y equals 8, so y has to be negative 8. And then if you substitute 0 for y, you're going to get 4x minus 0 equals 8, 4x equals 8, and x equals 2. Remember, you only need 2 points to be able to graph a line. So here we have it. Also remember, in the xy coordinate plane, our coordinates are labeled x, comma, y. X being our horizontal first and y being our vertical second. So if I want to graph 0, negative 8, I come here to my origin. My x is 0, so I don't move anywhere there, and then I go down to negative 8. And then in order to graph 2, comma, 0, I'm going to go over 2 on the x, and then don't go anywhere with my y. Now we can try and connect these points with or without a ruler. I'm not going to bother with the ruler function, so my lines are going to be a little crooked, but you can connect the line and off you go. All right, so that is an example of when you need to graph using intercepts. All right, what if we want to write an equation for a line and then graph it? All right, let's say that they give us our slope is 2 and our point is 2, negative 2. Just a refresher, y equals mx plus b is the standard equation for a line. It is in y-intercept form here, and it's super helpful to us because m constitutes the slope, and b is the y-intercept. All right, so that's the way we like it. That is the form that we need in order to graph most generally. But then we also need an equation called point-slope form. Maybe you remember this one. It's y minus y1 equals mx minus x1. And this is handy to us when we have an m and also a point like x1, y1. Then we can just plug it into this equation. And such is the case here. So we have our slope and a point. So we're going to plug in appropriately. So y minus y1, this is y1, it's a minus 2, so that's going to give me plus 2, equals m, x minus x1, which is 2. All right, that's good and dandy, but that is not in a sufficient form in order to be able to graph it, so we need to solve this thing for y. So we're going to use our great algebra skills. We're going to distribute the 2. Then we're going to subtract 2 here and get 2x minus 6. And then that is our equation for a line. Now, if we want to graph that, remember we always start with the y-intercept. So we're going to go down to negative 6. That's always going to be our starting point. And then I'm going to use my slope to come up with a point or two more. Remember, slope can be written on a graph as rise over run. So if my slope is 2, I could put 2 over 1 and be able to walk myself up this graph. So I would go up 2 and to the right 1, up 2 to the right 1, up 2 and to the right 1. You only need a couple of points in order to get your line going here. And there you have it. Why did we run to the right? Do you guys remember? When we went up and ran to the right, it was because our slope was positive. If our slope is negative, then we run to the left, and we'll see some of that too. Again, hopefully this is a review. All right, let's do another one. What if I'm given actually just 2 points and I need to write the equation and graph it? All right, so remember that in order to find the slope using 2 points, we could do y2 minus y1 all over x2 minus x1. All right, so we could just plug in appropriately here. Negative 4 minus 3 over 4 minus 2. Going to get me negative 7 over 2. That is my slope. All right, and now I can use my point slope form. Equals mx minus x1. And I can use either point. It doesn't matter. I have my slope. I guess I would generally use just the first one. Y minus, so I'm going to use x1, y1 here, but you can use either. Y minus 3 equals my slope, negative 7/2, x minus 2. Now again, we need to solve this for y in order to be able to graph it. So y minus 3 equals negative 7/2, x plus 7. Good fraction review here for you guys. Negative 7/2 times a negative 2 is just 7. So maybe we're going to need some practice on fractions if you're feeling a little bit sad about that. And now we're going to add 3 to both sides. And here is the equation of my line given those 2 points. Now again, in order to graph this, we're going to start with our y-intercept. Now we have a positive 10. And our slope is negative 7/2. So now we have a negative. So when I go up 7, which I'm barely going to have room for on this graph, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, I'm going to run to, and I'm going to run to the left. That would be sufficient, but if you wanted to go down, you could go down 7 and to the right in order to stay on the line here. You need to make sure you stay on the line. All right. Then there's one other thing that you're going to be asked to do, and that is to write the horizontal and vertical line given a point. Let's say we have the point 4, 2. All right, the horizontal, of course, is the x. The vertical is the y. And if you want to write the lines through those horizontals, then you simply grab that 4 and make the line x equals 4. You grab the 2 and make it y equals 2, and we graph them on our coordinate plane. So what does that look like? So x equals 4 is right here. It's the very straight line that goes through x equals 4. And my vertical here for the y actually results in the straight line going right through y equals 2. So this is the line x equals 4. This is the line y equals 2. All right, you guys, that's it for your homework tonight. Go ahead and finish up your notes, read through the examples, and begin your assignment.